Hey everybody, welcome back to the show. As you look around the shop this evening, I'm sure you're going to notice the track press. Yeah, it's gone. I hauled it out earlier this morning. We're finally done with track press stuff. But, well, there's one more thing I need to show you. I'm really not sad to see it go either. I mean, even though I did kind of make friends with it, this is just really nasty work at the end of the day. And, well, I'm sure y'all can relate to the predicament that I found myself in. I had one more set of track chains that really needed to be pressed apart. And, well, the track press was in here, cylinder on it. It was ready to go. And I knew that if I was to pack that away in the container, it was going to be years to decades before I felt like bringing it out and doing anything with it again. So strike while the iron's hot, right? And I originally also was not going to record any of that. I'm sure y'all are getting rather burned out on track press stuff. I know I am. But, well, I picked up a set of tracks a couple years ago that had some good attributes, had some bad ones. You can see this is the finished result. We've got a whole stack of good links right here. I had originally picked them up for the really nice 16-inch wide track pads that were on it. There aren't any snow holes that have ever been torched in them. Decent grouser bars on, and these were the 31 link track sets. So that means they came off of a tractor that had the larger front idler. The standard size idler, like 1113 has, requires a 30 link track. The optional larger front idler has one more link, so they were 31s. And excellent for the track pads. They were worth the $150 I paid for the set anyway. The links were still at 50% for life left. And with as hard as it is to find good undercarriage parts for these D2s, that was another big selling point for that set of tracks. Now, the downside about them. Yeah, they had worn all the bushings clear through, and you could see the track pins on both sides. So this is very, very bad, because a reputable track shop is not going to touch a set of track chains that have bushings in them that are this bad, because as you probably saw in the title, these things can shatter, explode, and just fly everywhere when they're worn this bad and you start putting excessive tonnage against them. And here's the one that did it to me. So, well, we'll just take it apart where it actually broke right through there. And you can see by just the shard that is left on the edge of this one, you would not want to catch that with your body if that ever took to flying through the air. Shot to the neck, or hit you in the face. That could be really, really bad. Graze your arm, that would just cut you wide open. Luckily, this was the piece that was still half in the link when it decided to let go. So this piece didn't fly at all. And this piece, well, it rattled around kind of against the backstop, but the way I built the press, it's so boxed in that luckily it didn't go anywhere either. The other side of this, though, where the pushing adapter was making contact, it shelled all of that out too. And I only found one piece of that. It's in here somewhere. But yeah, this one, this rather shiny one, that's the only piece of the end of that one I found. The rest of them just turned into bullets and disappeared. These were a few other bullets I'd picked up off the ground or off the floor, just pieces that were already kind of cracked and decided to fly out anyway. Nothing, made it into the wall or hit anybody or hurt anybody. But yeah, that's, I'd mentioned it before, but this was, well, it turned into the perfect opportunity to show why when everyone in the comment section asked me if I'm ever considering, taking up the track pin and bushing work as a side hustle, the answer's always been a flat no, and it remains a flat no because of that. It's dirty, it's heavy, it's potentially dangerous, and it's horrendously time consuming. I'm in the business of generating video content now, and like I said, I'm sure everybody's just as tired of watching track press stuff on the channel here as I am. So as long as I had the whole thing in operation, though, right after that one broke on me and shattered a little bit, I decided, well, maybe I should get a little bit of this on camera. So we've got a sequence where I did 2 different press strokes and gutted pins and bushings out of 2 different links. I still had the electric pump on, and I wasn't worried about the feel of the press fits. I already knew the pins and bushings are bad. We were just trying to vacate good links so that I could scavenge them and get them stored away for maybe future use if I ever find a better set of pins and bushings. So just remember in the footage, the sequence you're about to see right here, each time a pin and bushing starts to let go and we finally initiate movement on them, we were running 40 to 45 tons of contained pressure on that whole setup. So just imagine one of those shattering when it makes that bang. Okay, I just wanted to show you all that footage, kind of remind you again, like, you know, kind of what we're dealing with here. And it's also going to help me to answer a comment that was left a couple of videos back by, and we're not going to do this fancy, we're reading it right off the phone, Bob UK. He is a longtime viewer and commenter. He says, "Hi Toby, I can well imagine that you do not want to be offering a turn pen service to other rebuilders. Quite true, sir. Maybe you could consider loaning the press setups out. You would need a signed confirmation, lawyer drawn up question mark, that the use was all entirely down to the new operator's risk. As you have pointed out, it is fraught with danger for the inexperienced. And I think some contribution to a good cause would also not go amiss. Probably not my best idea ever. Maybe you would like to say a few words on camera about it." Well, thank you, Bob. And yeah, as I stated earlier, we're not doing this for hire, and I'm also not going to ever loan that track press out to anyone, because we're not dealing with industrial grade equipment here. This is just kind of a cobbled together affair that I made work. And another reason, like, take these bushings that were so badly damaged. You can see like a lot of these, like, well, this one right here, it's missing, well, probably a good 40% of the end of the bushing right there. So you lose that much in contact area with the pushing die. And every one of these is like that. And because of the big gaps on the press surface, it was just tearing up the pusher die. I had to redress this on the lathe 3 times, and we're chewed down short enough now that I'm pretty much to the point I'm going to need to make a new driver because I'm running out of reach. But yeah, the accelerated wear it puts on the tooling, it's not high grade tooling. Like I said, it's stuff I made work. So you'd need to loan it out to someone that has the capabilities to identify a die that needs to be redressed for functional and safety reasons. They would have to be able, like, to run a lathe, be equipped to do all that. And I just don't want to have somebody's 10-year-old kid standing right next to, you know, where you're pushing on a track chain and something happens, and I don't need that on my conscience. Even if somebody's dog came through. Anyone with pets knows they're always in the worst possible place at the worst possible time, right? Anytime something's dangerous was ever going down with any of our pets, they wanted to be like right underfoot or right in the way of something. No, we're not going to loan any of that out or do anything like that. But a couple other good questions were made over the last couple videos that I want to get to yet as well. So John Chrisman asks, how much weight is sitting in that assembled track on the floor? So that's actually like a topic that we completely broke down back in behind the scenes number 77, I believe it was. Now, one of the members asked a very similar question, and we figured it all out. So all that information is right at hand. It's kind of interesting too. Let's get into it. All right, so we break back into the old notebooks. Been a while since we've seen that. Here's all our pertinent data right down here. But to make it easy, if we're just talking about just the chains that don't have any track pads or bolts on them, we deduced in the behind the scenes episode by weighing new old stock links with 1 bushing, 1 pin. Each assembled link weighs 10 pounds. Okay, so this link right here is 10 pounds. This one is 10 pounds. So that's pretty easy to figure out. We got 10, 20, 30, 40. So with 30 link track chains like these, each one of these weighs 300 pounds as you see it right here. 600 pounds then for the pair. So to then figure out how much an assembled track weighs, so we have this rather standard 12-inch wide track pads on 5J1113 right now. Each one of these track pads weighed 8 pounds with the hardware, all right, the bolts, the nuts, the washers. So that means a link plus a 12-inch pad, 18 pounds a piece. That's 540 pounds per track, 1,080 then for the pair. But we didn't stop there. Next, we weighed a 16-inch wide track pad because that's pretty darn common to find on a wide gauge Caterpillar D2. The 16-inch wide pad weighs 12 pounds. That makes 22 pounds for a pad and link assembly. That brings it up to 660 pounds for a complete track outfitted with the 16-inch wide pads, or 1,320 pounds for the pair. And I can hear you all screaming, but Squatch, what about those monster 20s you want to run on here? All right, these weigh 16 3/4 pounds as you see them, which means we have a 26 3/4 pound fully assembled pad with link times 30. That's 802.5 pounds of track on one side, or 1,605 total pounds of track when you factor in the other side. And this is a really good comparison as long as we're here between the pretty much standard 12 the optional 16, and the even more rare 20-inch wide track pads on D2s. You can see step, 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 right up. So that brings me to the final question where, you know, a lot of people have asked, am I going to fit like a track carrier roller on these between the sprocket and the idler? And I would very much like to. The trouble is, as with everything else on this tractor, it's first generation, hard to find stuff. So yeah, I'm looking, because you look at the unsupported weight between sprocket and idler. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We've got 8 track pads at any given time just sagging between those two unsupported. And factoring in the weights that we just talked about, you have 8 of the track links with 12-inch wide pads. That's 144 pounds, okay? Unsupported sagging between the two. Not horrible, but you load those same 8 links up with those monster 20-inch wide track pads, that takes it up to 214 pounds from here to here, sagging down, unsupported. That's a 70-pound weight gain from there to there, and that's where a track carrier roller would really come in handy. So we're still searching. Nothing yet, but as soon as I find some, we'll get them put on. So that about does it. We'll get those bushings in the scrap bin, and we'll store those otherwise good track links away. We'll start slamming 20s onto these good chains, and if I ever find a better, well, a track with a better set of pins and bushings in, and maybe has completely worn out links, which sometimes happens, I've always got the option of ripping the pins and bushings out of that track, putting in those links. We've got another 50% plus track that's going to, well, outlive most any hobbyist that runs these tractors anymore anyhow. So that's just the whole wild world of the things that happen between my ears. I'm really good at making work for myself. Anyhow, we tried to make this one as short as possible, still rambled on for a bit, but I think it was some interesting stuff, answered some interesting questions, and kind of illustrated why I don't want to do track work for hire, ever. So that's that. Thanks again for watching, everybody. We're going to get busy slamming some 20s on these links now that we finally got that press out, and we'll finally have something cool to look at. So hope to see you all back for that. Thanks again.